there. You're tuned in to MEA Worldwide. I'm your host, Elena Jordan, and I am so excited to be sitting down here today with Calico Cooper.
Hello.
Man, you have just done everything from music to choreography to acting to improv. Do you have the one particular love that stands out as like the truest in your hearts, or is that kind of like picking a favorite kid? You can't really do it.
I would have to say there's nothing like being on stage. And I love film and I love television, I really do. But you know, the art form is getting that one scene correct and getting that one over and over. With stage, there's something dangerous about it and there's something unpredictable about it. And the way I kind of approach stuff with my band Beasto Blanco is like, I don't know what's gonna happen, and I think the crowd can feel like I don't know what's gonna happen, and so can the band, and so anything is possible, and that's just electric. And I love watching people's faces going, because I'm doing it too. I have no idea.
I love that you feel that this is still so new and so fresh to you every time that you go out, because obviously, you know, your dad being Alice Cooper, you grew up in this environment. Like, you've just been intertwined with the stage since you were a child. So what do you think it is about it that makes it feel fresh and feel new every time you go in with a new crowd?
I think the blessing of being able to work for so many years with my dad on stage is he's got what is essentially a Broadway show. And there are mechanisms and visual things that are just like mind-blowing. And when I started working for him when I was 18, I learned how they all worked, and I learned, you know, how to make something. His show is very like as easy as it looks and as entertaining. It's a Broadway show, so things are on mark. It's on this time. There's 10 guys working that explosion. Like, so when you grow up with like learning the basics like that with my band, it's a little different because I kind of thrive on the not really knowing. And when I get feedback, which is always really important, like, you know, you can love what you do and you can love your art and be like, I only care about what I think. But like, let's be honest, like, there are people in the crowd, I want them to have a good time, and I love getting feedback. And a lot of times it was just like, when you were standing up on top of that, you know, riser and it was shaking and it was just the greatest thing. And I was like, okay, so with all the money in the world and with all the production in the world, you can have a cool show, but I don't think anything is as exciting as true chaos. And the musicians have to be stellar. Everything's got to be ready for you to be in chaos. But once I start, I just love the feeling of like, we're all in this together. I don't know if we're going to make it out, but we're starting.
I love that idea of this kind of, you know, controlled chaos that you're able to create. And you are downplaying it a little bit when you're like, when I worked with my dad when I was 18, you choreographed the show when you were 18. It wasn't just, I helped out and I moved a box. Like, you choreographed an entire show. You've choreographed 11 different shows, 8 full stage productions.
Yeah.
So do you feel like having that background where everything is kind of more choreographed, there are more set specifics, gives you the freedom to have a little bit more chaos in your own productions, because you know when to not let it get too far, if that makes sense?
I'll tell you that being able to work with a giant budget and kind of like, the world is your oyster. Here's this character, this Alice Cooper character, and you know it, and I trust you with it, so take us to another place that we haven't been. We still have to honor the lifelong fans, we still have to honor who the character is, but like, I'm thinking, let's take it into a post-apocalyptic, or let's take it into like a weird digital, or let's, you know, take it into, you know, wherever we've gone with it. And so that kind of allowed me to like play with the big budget. But then a lot of times they'd give you a lot of money and you go, I really don't need all of that to make this happen. So when we started Beasto, I looked at what we had and the rooms that we were playing in, and I go, okay, so there's 1,000 people instead of 10,000. What can I get away with? And that's the nucleus of it. What can I get away with? And people want to be there. They want to be a part of it. So as long as you're not phoning it in, they'll go with you. They'll go with you anywhere. If I have, one of my things is I have an arm cannon, right?
Oh, cool.
And it looks, I even look at photos and go, that is the coolest thing I've ever seen. It's a BMX bike thing that I set on fire, and spray painted with fire retardant stuff, and then I added a bunch of like digital sort of the Predator things on it, and when the lights go out and I hit it, I feel like the Predator, and because I feel like the Predator, they feel like I'm the Predator. So everyone's just going, and it's a bike light, but the power of a bike light is like unbelievable.
But part of what makes that so cool and what makes you feel like it's a part of yourself and a part of this persona is that you create it yourself.
Yeah.
Like you are so involved in every aspect of the show.
Yeah.
Why do you feel that that's important to you, going all the way down to, you know, making the bike like props that you're wearing?
Well, I think I also know that I have a fully conceptualized thing of where I want specifically, you know, I do film and TV where they tell you, okay, here's the paper and here's the person you're gonna play. And then in those confines, I can go, okay, yes, but what if this and what if that? And you can play a little bit, but the opportunity to create something completely new from just the things that make you excited like a little kid, like, you know, I started off Beasto as just sort of this like huntress sort of thing, and then I remember seeing the new Jurassic Park, and I was like, okay, Indominous Rex, I was like, it's the best parts of all the scariest dinosaurs, and I was like, what if my character was the best parts of a hunter, and the best parts of a robot, and the best parts of, like, you know, parts cheetah, part this and that, and so all of a sudden this thing built up, and I'm looking at myself in the mirror, 7 feet tall, with dreadlocks and these like yellow eyes and cybernetic arm, and I'm going, well, you did it. Well, God, this is what you wanted.
That is just, I love all of these elements that you're able to create. And part of what's so cool too is that you're kind of at the forefront here of this female-led movement in metal that we haven't really seen up until this point. And now with, you know, with Hailstorm and with your tour with Lizzie Hale and everything, and kind of bringing this genre to a more diverse audience than has been in the past, do you feel extra responsibility being, you know, one of the few female voices in this genre, or do you feel that that kind of gives you even more empowerment because it also gives you a little bit more flexibility to just say, hey, this is who I am, this is what I'm gonna do, deal with it?
Right, I mean, I'm really excited that we are kind of like inadvertently have created the Spice Girls of metal, when you have like Lizzie, and you have me, and you have Ash Costello from New Year's Day, and then you have, you know, In This Moment, and we're all completely different. We all sing completely different, and I think there's such an awe and respect. Like, when we watch each other on stage, I don't do the stuff that Lizzie does, and she doesn't do the stuff that I do, and I don't do the stuff, you know, that Marina Brinks does, and like, we're really like, we lift each other up, but I think it's important. A lot of our bands have men in them, and we're female fronted, but at the same time, it's like you'll never find a bigger champion than those guys. You know, for us, like, go harder, be bigger, and it's not like we needed the permission, but it certainly is nice to have the support. And I think the greatest thing about that Hailstorm tour was looking out and seeing so many teenage girls. And what I do is so different from what Lizzie does. It could have gone either way, but I forget that like teenagers are like me. Like, I love to be told a story. I love a comic book. I love a Magic the Gathering moment. Like, give me Mortal Kombat or give me death. Like, I'm all about these. And so bringing it to them, I watched the teen girls just eyes light up, and then after the show they would say the thing to me that I needed to hear the most, which is like, that's how I want to be. You know what I mean? And in no way in what I'm doing, like, I don't wear as many clothes as some of the other girls because I feel good about it. Nobody's making me. I love it. I love dressing like this. I love moving the way I do, and it's for me. And I think that that kind of resonates. And so as far as like a voice for females, I just love the fact that teenage girls mostly are like sending me pictures of them as the machine girl for Halloween.
So
and that was like
cool.
a single tear. I was like, oh, it's happening.
And kind of been talking too about the supportive men in the band as well. Chuck Garrick, of course, you've known for many, many years, was bassist, worked with your dad. Is it interesting working with him now in this dynamic of, you know, kind of shifting from one band to the other, and him now off bass lead and, you know, doing vocals with you?
Yeah. It's interesting because he's played with Alice, he's played with Dio, he's played with all these big bands, and so he sort of has the demographic of like the real, like, heavy metal, hard rock, because we're not a screamo band, and you know, we're not like, which is, I love that music, it's just, I can't do it. I can't get down that low.
I'm like, don't sell yourself short, because The Seeker opens with like this
that
note that I'm like,
thank you so much. I gotta admit, man, every now and then we'll be like at rehearsal and I'll do it and I just make sure everybody heard that. Like, I did it. But you know, like having Chuck in the band is so great because he does bring with him a consummate musician. So he handpicked the other guys in the band.
Oh, wow.
And we're from all over the planet. It wasn't like really convenient. There's like the best guy, Jan Legrau from Germany. You know, we get the best drummer, Sean Sellers from here, and Brother Latham from there. And it's like, it's not convenient, but it's the best group of like Captain Planet with our powers combined. And I just really think that having Chuck in the band, he's been the biggest proponent of like, do what you want, and I'll sort of yes and you. And I go, okay, and he always says that I make him work harder, but he certainly doesn't, I can never phone it in, because Chuck starts the show with a mask on and things are exploding, and I'm like, woo, here we go, here we go. And we always, there's one foot that's always in reality, because it gives us a chance to play. So on stage, you know, there's all this like gooey sexual tension, there's sweat flying and everything, and then the minute I turn around to Sean, our drummer, I'm like, you know, you have to be like that. That's something else my dad taught me, is that you can't buy your own hype. You know what I mean? Play your character, that character did good for you, and that character is a part of you, or else it's not authentic. But you gotta go to the grocery store, man. You know, you gotta wake up and have a hangover. You gotta, like, you can't just be that person all the time, or I think it literally just chips away at your brain.
Well, because you've played so many different characters as well, and I love even in your descriptions of your music with the yes and, I'm like, improv girl, she's so on it, I love it. Do you have a favorite character that you've played? Because you've also played, you know, various characters on stage with your dad, you've played, you know, your own characters, and you've also played, of course, scripted characters, going everything from horror to drama to Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
so.
I was on Nickelodeon, believe that. I was for sure when they hired me for Henry Danger that they were going to Google me and be like, next, thank you very much. This person cannot be on set with children. But you know, with those big networks, it's interesting. You cannot have any sort of record. So in the rock world, it's a very fine line of like, you know, the image and illusion of like, really like partying and cutting loose, but at the same time, we have to work overseas constantly. I can't be caught up in anything like that, you know what I mean? Because it would prevent me from doing what I love and working. So when Nickelodeon hired me for Henry Danger, I remember thinking, I don't have a record. Wow, I hadn't thought about that in so long. But that was great. I think my favorite character, though, to play would have to be this one that I'm playing in Beasto, the Machine Girl, and because it keeps evolving.
Yeah.
And I'm not done, and we're gonna go back out on tour here in March, and I'm already sketching up like, how is she evolved? Like, what part of her is this now? And I'm kind of going in like, now she's all these things she was on the Hailstorm tour, but she's also a military general. So I started buying all these military things, cool. And I'm like, oh, this is gonna be awesome. But I don't know what's gonna happen, so we'll see.
Ah, well, I'm so excited. I'm excited about your tour.
Thank
too,
you.
So.
Me too.
Well, thank you so much for sitting down and
Absolutely.
talking with us. And where can everybody check out you online and also your music? Of course, new album We Are. And
yes,
Beasto
We Are.
Blanco.
We Are is new Beasto Blanco record. We have the really confusing website of beastoblanco.com. Which that is all of our tour dates. It has all of our social medias, but we're on everything. I'm Calico Cooper on the internet, like Facebook, Twit. Do you tweet?
I tweet.
I kind of like I tried
sporadically tweet
to twit, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm Instagram. It's better. I'm gonna let this do the talking because I don't know.
course, you guys can check out all of our celebrity interviews at MEA Worldwide. That's MEAWW.com. Until next time, I'm Elena Jordan. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.